Ed Marks here. Welcome to Lessons from My Mentor. I'm going to share with you one of my mentors, Tim Dodson, from 2010, could be 2012. I need to write a list and just double check on all the years. Sometimes it gets confusing because it's been, 25 years worth of mentors. Tim was pretty special. So unfortunately, Tim died really young. He was in his 30s and he had small children, and it was just really tragic that he passed away so soon. But he was actually a mentor of mine. One year I did this thing called reverse mentoring, which I highly suggest for you, especially those of you who don't think you need a mentor. And for those who are like me, like, yes, bring it on, I need a mentor. We normally look at for someone who's older and wiser, been there, done that sort of thing. And that's great. It's a really good thing to do. But maybe every 2 or 3 times, get someone that's younger. So it's called reverse mentoring. So it's someone in a different generation than you that can help you. And so Tim was that for me. So I had contacted him, and I mean, he was thrilled to death, obviously. He was like an analyst, and here I am, the CIO. And I knew he was just so sharp, right? So I knew who he was, obviously, and he was super sharp. And he was really good at this thing called social media, which at the time, right, very few people were doing. And he was wondering, how come we, as an organization, my institution at the time, weren't doing much with it? And I thought, dang, I need to get on the ball myself. Now, my kids really helped me also. Tim, more so from the business perspective of social media. So I ended up out of that setting up all the social media for our health system. It was kind of funny because the marketing department, and again, I'm not going to mention where it was because I don't want to make anyone feel bad, even though years have passed, but they just were slow. I mean, everyone. So it wasn't, I'm not saying anything negative about the people because they were awesome. I think all of healthcare always traditionally behind by a few years what other people are doing. And so our organization was no different than any others. No one was really out there doing thing cutting edge. So Tim gave me a lot of ideas. So I created our first LinkedIn channel. I created our first Twitter channel. Did I do Facebook? I don't think so. But I did another channel or two and really got things going. And eventually they were handed back to the appropriate person as everyone else caught up. But he was so influential, and he taught me, how to use Twitter and then how to combine everything. So I don't recall the platform I was using at the time, but it was like a single platform from which I could decide, yeah, these two things are going to go on Twitter and LinkedIn, and this one's just going to go here. And so it was really nice. And we did some great things as an organization. So marketing caught up, and we did some cutting edge things for the time, like watching live surgeries or watching your birth of your child because you were deployed somewhere else. Things today that we take for granted, but back then, we're talking up to 15 years ago, were not so prevalent. So, anyways, Tim, thank you. And again, my heart just goes out to Tim's family who suffered, such a tragic early loss of their father and husband. But Tim taught me a lot. So social media. So the encouragement is to go find a mentor in a different generation, younger than yours. So skip a couple if you need to, depending on your own age, and really seek someone who can help sort of bring new perspective. And I was reminded of this because last night we had a party. So I'm in DFW, and we had a party of all the healthcare tech type executives in the region. So we love to have parties at our home. So we had this party, and one of them was talking to me about sort of work-life balance, right? The age-old question. And people have been saying that the younger generation's younger than mine. So I'm like Gen X, right there next to baby boomers, that the younger generations, they have it better figured out, this whole work-life balance. So we were talking about that because I was like, man, when I'm in an organization, I was like all in, and I would like work 24/7 and, to do crazy hours all the time. And as a result, whenever I still get recruited quite a bit, to go back into those type of roles. And it's like, I don't really want to anymore because I remember that lifestyle. And he was like, well, we don't do it like that. And I said, well, tell me more. And in fact, I want to unpack that in another episode. So I'm going to leave that out there as a teaser because I thought it was brilliant. And as he was talking to me, I'm like, this guy's from a generation below me, and he's teaching me. And I loved it. I just loved it. I was like, tell me more, tell me more. And so I want to unpack that for you. Before we leave, I got to tell you that one of the coolest stories, Tim Dotson's stories. So, as I mentioned, he was a great help to me and helped me become who I am today. So, get a reverse mentor. So, he loved Epic. I mean, I've never seen anyone, I mean, he was nerdy in a good sense, and he loved Epic. He's so passionate about his job and everything. And like I said, a great human father and husband. And he was like, just loved him so much. I don't know how else to explain it except to say it 2 or 3 times how much he loved Epic. So he's super, super passionate. So one day, the CEO from Epic, Judy, I knew she was coming to our facilities. And so, because I helped arrange it. And she was going to come speak to our C suite because we were about to embark. And this is pretty early. We're about to embark on a pretty bodacious plan to implement Epic ultimately to 27 hospitals. And so I had her come out to the C-suite to kind of like give us a little insight how it's going to go and what to expect and the support from Epic and those sort of things. So I met her in the green room, what we would call the green room, right? This is the room outside of the boardroom where you wait for your turn to get called in. So she had appropriately shown up a little bit early. I knew she would. I met her there, just talked about what to expect, what's going to happen. And I said, Judy, there's this guy, Tim, who loves Epic. I've never seen anyone so passionate about Epic. He works in this building. Would you mind if I text him and just we surprised him? And she was all into it. And so I texted him. He was scared to death because I'm calling him up to the executive floor. And I was like, Tim, hey, I just want to talk to you really quick and meet someone. And so, sure enough, I wish I had video of this, but you're not thinking that way. And we probably didn't have iPhones at the time. Probably had my BlackBerry. So the video thing wasn't as prevalent, but here he comes. And here's the funniest thing. He's wearing an Epic shirt. Yeah, he had gone to UGM or something. He had Epic shirt on and he walks in, right? And he was a little nervous. You're thinking, why am I getting called to the executive floor? And there's Judy, like his ultimate hero. And his eyes just lit up and he was nervous and they just connected and had a talk. And Judy was awesome in the way that she handled the situation. And I was so grateful to her for, doing that and just the way that she embraced Tim. And so Tim went back down. I mean, that guy was fired up for the next year in terms of everything he was doing with Epic. But that's my favorite memory of Tim. And I always remember that smile and the joy that he had on that particular day and just how fabulous that was. But thank you, Tim, for being my mentor, for helping me. I think you'd be really proud of all the sort of things that have come out of that I learned from you ultimately. So thank you.